Hello and welcome to my video. I started to scrap this footage because of my hair not being positioned correctly, but I want you really to focus on the message that I have to say. So if it helps to close your eyes and just listen, then do that. But I hope you enjoy this. What's up, everyone? I'm back. So I've been gone for a little bit and I just have to fill y'all in. But before I do that, I want to say thank you to every one of my 40 supporters. Yes, each and every one of you means so much to me. You subscribed and you stayed subscribed. And I appreciate that. So now let's get with it. So the last time I posted a video, I think was in 2021 after the birth of my son. So things have changed since then. As you see, I'm on camera by myself. The last time that I brought you all into a piece of my life, I had someone with me, and he's no longer here to be with us. Yeah, I'm a whole widow. So let's just run this thing back. So let's see how I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna add some pictures. So we went from this to this to this to this. So on April 22nd, 2022, my husband was killed in a vehicular accident. Hit head on, and that was it. And it was completely devastating for us. We had just taken this picture just a few days before. But I kept having this pressing feeling like, our baby was young, and I was like, we need to, and it was during COVID. So we got married during COVID. We had gotten pregnant during COVID. We had the baby during COVID. And I kept saying, we need some pictures. Our baby needs some pictures because when he goes to school, he needs to have a family photo. Because they do the community segment. So I have a background in education. I used to teach 4K, first grade, second grade. I was a reading interventionist, a literacy coach, and then the director of adult education. So I have a little bit of a background in education, and I have a passion for education too, which will speak to where my life is transforming into. So we took that picture, and then we received grief for that picture. That's another story. But after we took the picture, I felt so much better. Like, okay, now he has a picture, not knowing that that would be the first and final formal picture that my baby would have with his father. So yes, he passed away, or he was killed in a car accident. And I say killed because the person who killed him was abusing substances, essentially, and that caused him to make decisions that weren't the best, that led to the unaliving of my husband. So that's that. So at 34, with a 13-month-old and a 9-year-old, and it happened on my 9-year-old's birthday. Yep, that morning. Like literally 2 hours after he was born. So my oldest son was born like 5:26 in the morning, and this happened at like 7:45 in the morning. 9 years later. I never would have thought. So after that happened, I had to pick up the pieces. Literally, I was telling someone today that I didn't even take a moment to lie in bed and be curled up and cry. I was still nursing my baby. Yes, at 13 months old, I was still nursing him. And on Monday, it happened on a Friday. So I don't really remember Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't remember much of that. I think it's just like a traumatic block or whatever as protection. But then Monday, I was handling business. I had to get things done. And I just realized how unforgiving life can be sometimes. Like, you just have to keep pushing forward. So in 22, that happened. And I had to figure out my new life. I had made a vow to God that I wouldn't have another baby until I was married. So hence, getting pregnant that next month after I got married. And I was like, gosh, I made this vow. I upheld my end. And now look. So I had to go through a lot of grieving and forgiving of myself. And then normally my grandmother was a widow. And some of her friends were widows. So typically when you hear the word widow, you think of an older lady. But I was a widow at 34, and I wasn't really around a lot of other people that were widows. So this was a journey that I had to walk a great portion of it alone. I had an awesome support system that helped when they wanted to help, or helped how they felt like they needed to help. And I laugh and say that because I always say help is what the person who is in need needs, not what you feel like you're doing to help. But that's another conversation for another day. But I'm thankful for whoever showed up, how they showed up, because I had some awesome people. Listen, my uncle came and filled up my refrigerator with groceries. Some of my good friends from work, sorority sisters, even my Delta friend, they came through. They brought diapers and wipes and things that I was just panicking, and I was devastated. I had been out of work. I had worked part-time throughout my whole pregnancy and the pandemic, but because I already owned my home since 2016, before I even got married. So it's just a different element that you come into a marriage with when you already have your own. And although I had a husband, I needed to make sure that I was providing what I could provide and standing on mine, because I'm just that type of girl. You can't take it because you're not going to do it all. No. So, I was working part-time, throwing up, miserable during this pregnancy. Gained so much weight because all I could do was sit around and eat tacos and boom chicken pop. But I was working, but I wasn't working full time. So it wasn't until January, when my son was about 9 months old, that I got a job as a director of adult ed. And I had not had that many checks. The savings had taken a hit because I was taking care of that mortgage, baby, and taking care of the things that needed to be handled. Because I guess people say, sometimes overly independent people don't feel necessarily safe in a situation. That's why they overdo it and do it how they do it. I don't know, but I just knew that I had did what I had to do, because I had a son already and a house already, and I couldn't jeopardize my stability at all for no reason. So had not been working that long, had not had that many checks, and I had some people come through and show up for me, and I'm just so grateful. So 22, got through it. Planning the service of my husband when we had just talked about his desires. The first week of April, his sister died on his father's side. And that was his second sister to pass away. And we were going to go to the balloon release in Atlanta because we were going to go down there to visit the aquarium for spring break. But then he didn't really feel it because I guess he wasn't really in tune with that side of his family or whatever. And everybody goes through stuff like that. But we decided against it. We didn't go. But when we got home, we talked about our desires if we were to leave early. And 3 weeks later, I would be having to carry out those desires. And it's just, I pray that if someone goes through this, that they don't go through the messy side that I went through, because I didn't know it was a messy side to death. In my family, when we lose somebody, we're just so sad, you know. We're not going to hear their voice anymore. We're not going to smell their scent anymore. We joke about things they used to say. My grandma's not going to be able to make the dumplings. My grandfather won't be able to say the little idioms that he would say and make us laugh, or with all seriousness, check us and not care about checking us. Those are the things that we miss and valued. And I had a different experience and it hurt me. So I had to work through that as well. And I was devastated because when you're going through loss, it's different types of losses. And I always feel like there's different levels to the hurt that is associated with a loss. So if you separate, then that's a feeling of loss, but it's not final. If you get a divorce, that's a feeling of loss, but it's not final. But if someone dies, that's final. And it was just devastating to know that a final decision had been made for me. But then on top of all the final decision part, I had to deal with the mess. So I had to work through that, had to grow thick skin, had to go Beyonce and just not say a lot to address a whole lot. And then had to file, had to get people served with a cease and desist and do the things that I needed to do, because at that point, I had to think about my boys. So, went through that, still handling the household by myself, still figuring out what to do with my boys by myself, working a new job. God allowed me to be elevated in this process. Glory be to Him. So I received a different position that would help me supplement some of my income. And God is just good. I'm certified in the area in which I work, so I'm deserving and qualified. But sometimes you don't always be in alignment with that elevation. And I just thank God that I was. So 22 went through that. 23 had to rediscover myself. Your girl was outside. I might add some pictures. And when I say outside, I don't mean outside with the fellas. I just mean I was at events or trying to go to social settings, because that was one thing that me and my husband did. And if you looked at our Facebook, you saw every weekend we were somewhere. Because we worked through the week. He was in education too, and we worked Monday through Friday. So on Friday night and Saturday, we were out there having fun, going places, just doing stuff. And then on Sundays, we were at church. And it took me a long time to get back into the physical building of the church, because it just was a constant reminder. It took me a long time to start listening to gospel music again, because I always used to joke with him. Every time we got in his car, he was listening to the gospel music. And he was listening to the gospel music. So it took a minute. It just took a minute just to kind of come down off of all of that. So although I was outside, like at my brother's band events, going out to dinner, just spending time with friends, I had to relearn me and figure out who Tiffany was apart from being a widow, because that was a defining moment in my life. Just like being a mother, it was a defining moment in my life. Like, I just thank God. I was so happy to be a mom. I altered my entire life when I became a mom, especially that first time. People who knew me were like, Tiffany, you can still be you and be a mama. No, it was all about this baby, honey. What he want, what he need. Private school, oh, okay, I'm gonna eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and send him right on. He like eating steak, he eat steak, and I eat beans. Like, it was really that. And I just had to find balance. And that's one thing that I've really understood throughout my life. I've had to find a lot of balance. So 23, redefining my life. 24 came, and I didn't really do a lot. And here we are in 25. And 25 has started off good. I've been pretty stable in my emotions. I have some sad days. When I think about just the overall being, like I tried to set my life up to where my children wouldn't be statistics. I have 2 sons with brown skin, and I was trying to figure it out. And then just when I felt like, okay, we have a family unit now, it looks like this is an added layer of protection that was taken away. And that's one thing that I've had to learn to deal with. I've had to learn to protect myself, and be able to be prepared to protect my children. It's just been an interesting journey. But like the old people say, I wouldn't take nothing for my journey now. So I'm just glad that you tuned in just to kind of get a quick catch up on what's been going on with me. But I'm okay. I'm okay. I realize now that there is life after death. When my grandfather died, the doctor came to us about my grandmother, and I'm getting emotional. And he said, I'm going to charge you all to keep her living, to keep her going. And we were like, what? And he was like, a lot of times when a spouse dies, the other spouse dies not like closely after, because dying of a broken heart is a real thing. And it's like, my brother's all into that stuff, but it's something about the tendons or something in your heart. They literally can snap loose from just the sorrow and the pain. And we made it our business to keep her going, to keep her alive. And she lived on like 8 more years after he passed away. Now, the doctors didn't come to me and say that, because sometimes when they look at you and you're young and they think, oh, well, you can get married again, you can have more kids, you're 34. Yes, those things are true, but it just takes some work. And it takes some inner work in order to feel okay about moving on, about how to move on. It was a devastation. So just dealing with all of those elements, and then public opinion of people that were not in my favor, and it was only because I was the wife. But I've grown. I've learned so much about myself, and I have learned that I am resilient. And sometimes being called a strong black woman is not a compliment to me, because I feel like if you saw me as wounded, if you saw me as hurt, you would let me lie in your arms and allow my heart to break and to just cry and support me in rebuilding my strength. And sometimes that's how I feel. I don't always feel strong. I don't always feel prepared. But there is something that has been consistent throughout my life that I do know. And it's that one of my life's purposes is to restore hope. So I think that as I look over my life and I look at some of the things that I've been through, God has been feeding that purpose with experiences that support what he wants, that supports what he wants me to do. So stay tuned so you can see how I plan on carrying out my life's purpose. I feel like my passion is education, but my life's purpose is to restore hope. And I'm going to bring both of those together, and I'm going to serve the people. And like the old people say, I don't even know if I finished the statement a minute ago because my thoughts are going quicker than my words, but I wouldn't take nothing for my journey now. I wouldn't. And it still hurts. Certain parts of it still hurt. Every time I look at my baby boy, and I know that when he walks in a room and he says he doesn't have a dad at home, it's not because his dad is in the streets or his dad is locked up. But it's out of my control. So I'm breathing, I'm getting through it. The hurtful parts, the parts that have brought strength to me, that have made me revisit who I am and figure it out. So stay tuned to my channel, because we're gonna grow here. We're gonna talk here. And I appreciate you watching until the end. I know this was a little lengthy, but I just wanted to share where I've been, what I've been doing. And I just look forward to reconnecting with you. I look forward to growing this following. So if you want to share the video in a positive light, please do. Because I'm a widow. I am. And that's something that I'll be until I get married again, if I get married again. And that's something that I want to kind of sit in. Sometimes, you know, people don't talk about it, or they just sweep it under the rug. But there's purpose in your pain. And I want to speak to that. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching. And I will be back with more. Take care.